There's a beautiful saying from Umar ibn al-Khattab, and he mentioned in one speech he gave to some people, okay, he said, "O my people, Islam is a mighty fortress and a sturdy gate. The fortress of Islam is justice and its gate is truth. If you destroy the fortress and demolish the gate, you will undermine the defenses of the religion." And he went on to say, Islam will remain strong so long as the sultan or the authority is strong. And he says the strength of the sultan or the authority, the ruler, it doesn't come from flogging or from the whip, nor from killing with the sword, but from ruling with justice and holding fast to truth. There's another very strong example, and if you understand, if you know anything about the Arabs before the time of Islam, you will know how very, very much they respected the strong tribes and the noble lineage, and it's something they used to consider to be so important. If you understand really how important this concept of lineage is, you'll reflect on this story. There is a man, there was a certain prince, a Ghassanid prince. The Ghassanids, by the way, were a largely Christian Arab tribe, okay, based in Sham. There was one certain prince who had converted to Islam, and he was staying as an actual guest of Umar. Umar was the second Khalif, okay, and Umar was, in fact, history is fabled with the legends of the justice of Umar. In fact, we could just spend the whole rest of the talk talking about the stories of his treatment of and his dispensation of justice. It's legendary, okay? The justice of Umar. It became known that this was a phrase, the justice of Umar. In fact, even when the Muslim armies were fighting in Syria and the area now that's known as Jordan and Syria and Palestine and that sort of area, in fact, Christians were writing to Umar. They were writing to him, asking him to come and liberate them from the rule of the Byzantines. And in the letter they would say, well, one letter reads that even though they are our brothers in faith, meaning even though the Byzantines are Christians like us, they treat us unjustly, whereas we know that you will treat us justly. So they were inviting the Muslims to come and rid them of the tyranny of the Byzantines. This is how the justice of Umar was known. So there's one man, this Jabala, who is from this noble tribe, this noble man from this noble tribe, he was making pilgrimage. He was making actually the small pilgrimage. And one poor Arab man trod on his cloak and pulled his cloak down. So this man, he hit this poor Arab, smashed him in the nose, right, and sort of pushed him away. And when that happened, this Arab went to Umar. He went to complain to Umar. Again, this is the Caliph of the Muslims, and this poor guy is just going up and complaining to him. That's just another thing. I mean, you know, you got this poor guy just going up to Umar, who's the Caliph of all the Muslims, and complaining. It's just amazing just thinking about these type of things. I mean, this is a man, Umar ibn al-Khattab, who used to sleep sometimes on the steps outside the mosque. He just used to eat dried bread. If you'd seen him, you wouldn't have known him any different from just some, you know, average guy or less than average guy on the street. People used to be amazed at what, that's the leader of these Muslims? This army, this people, this great, you know, conquering people, and this is the leader? And that was him, Umar. So he went to Umar and he complained about this guy. So Umar called him, and this is what Jalabi said. He said, this rascal trod on my reverence for the Kaaba, okay? And he said, if I wasn't allowed to shed blood here, I would have killed him. I would have chopped his head off, okay? And so Umar said to him, you know, he asked this man, did you tread on his scarf? Did you do this on purpose? Did you aggravate him purposefully? And the man said, no, I was very crowded, as the Kaaba's crowded, and I trod in his cloak by mistake. So Umar said to the man, Jalaba, do you agree that this was not intentional? He said, I don't care whether it was intentional or not. He said, I am a noble Arab, and he is some commoner, and it doesn't matter to me whether he did it on purpose or not. He dishonored my position. So Umar said, in Islam, there is no distinction between a prince and a commoner. You could not take the law into your own hands merely on the grounds that you are a prince and he is a commoner. So Jalaba got very upset about that. He said, I thought that Islam would add to my dignity and prestige, and here Islam is becoming an instrument for my humiliation. So Umar said, the law has to have its own course, and I'm obliged to do justice. You've got two alternatives. Either you patch up with this man, or you're going to have to face my verdict. And the verdict is going to be that whatever that he did to the man is allowed to do back to him. Okay, so if he's punched the man in the nose, this man is going to be able to punch him back in the nose. Okay, it's justice, right? May not be merciful, but it's just. Okay, so the man says, Jalaba, when he saw that Umar was serious, he says, well, give me a day to think about it. So Umar said, okay, you have a day to think about it. In the meantime, the guy packs up his bags, and he goes off and goes back to Constantinople, and he becomes a Christian again. Okay, and what did he say? He said, I denounce Islam because it doesn't discriminate between a peasant and a foreigner. Meaning, when he went back to Constantinople, to the lands of Christianity, he was going to find that he would be respected for a noble, and he could treat commoners just about any way that he liked. Okay, that's and we got actually quite a few examples of that. One actual personal example of himself, where he treated someone badly. Some man came to him, and because he used to have a certain time dealing with the normal people, and then he used to have a certain other time for dealing with very important affairs. One guy comes to him when he's dealing with these very important affairs and starts pestering, so Umar lashes out at him with his crop, right? And said, how are you disturbing me at this time? This is not your time. So the man goes off upset. And then Umar, he feels remorse. He goes running after this guy. Now remember, he's the leader of the whole people. Right? He goes running after this guy, begging him for forgiveness. He said, I did you wrong, please forgive me. Okay? And not only that, when the guy says, and the man, he says to the man, take my stick, take this and whip me back. Because I don't want you to have anything against me, not in this life or the next. So the man says, you're the Amir al-Mu'minin, may Allah forgive you and me. Okay? So I forgive you. But that's not the end of it. Umar, he goes back to his house, and he starts crying, and he starts weeping, okay? And he starts crying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, complaining about his state. He says, this is what he says. He says, oh Umar, you are low, but Allah raised you up. You are wandering astray, but God guided you. You were base, but Allah ennobled you and gave you sovereignty over the people. Now one of them comes and asks you for acquittal for the harm done to him, and you beat him. What answer would you give before Allah? Umar kept chiding himself, holding a straw in his hand, and he said, I wish I was a straw like this. I wish my mother had not given birth to me. This is how bad he felt about what he had done. So certainly we can look from those type of things. And we could mention many, many more incidents that Islam is teaching, Islam is enjoining upon the people justice.